r/NoSleep. Posted by u/DieOnSetA. Nightmares I had as a child have returned, but now they're becoming real. I used to be scared of everything, especially faces if they didn't look normal. When I was 4, a new film was about to be released and I saw their version of death on a magazine cover. It terrified me, and it's only a white face. I was even scared of people who had beards because it covered their faces. Ironic now considering I have a big beard. But thanks to being scared of everything, you can imagine I had a lot of nightmares. Didn't help I thought my house was haunted too. I still remember the majority of the nightmares I had, and now they're returning, full force, to the extent of when I wake up, they're still there. I'm scared to go to sleep, but I'm exhausted and can't help but drop off sometimes. It started a week ago when I bought a cheap dream catcher from a local charity shop. And before you ask, yeah, I've already destroyed it. It didn't help. I'm cursed now and that's it. I know one day one of the things I dream up will kill me. The first thing that came out was a being I called Pumpkinhead. More a trickster and annoyance than a danger, a guy with a pumpkin for a head who wears a 3-piece suit. He likes to jump out on me to scare me, laugh and run away. He doesn't really scare me though anymore, still tries, but has realized I've got used to finding him hiding behind doors and random other places. The second was 2 days later, the night before. I'd had a standard dream that didn't produce anything in reality. I thought Pumpkinhead was a one-off at the time, but he wasn't. It just turned out only things that scare me come out. What came out the second time was something that I couldn't see, only hear. It decided to live in my walls. Yet another annoyance more than a danger. However, I do now have holes in my walls where it decided to knock them through to shout at all times of day and night. I tried having a friend over to hear it, but when he was here, it went quiet. It's peaceful, but my friends also think I'm going insane. The third was the night after. This one was a danger but wasn't interested in me for some reason. Let's just say the first friend that came over didn't go home. The thing I dreamed, I've never seen directly. It's humanoid, I think, looks like a shadow. I only ever see it out the corner of my eye or in reflections. It makes a whistling sound whenever it's around, and when my friend Mike came over, he heard it from the bathroom and went to investigate. I told him not to, but he didn't listen. Now he lives in the bathroom mirror, and I'm sorry Mike, but anything that reflects is staying in the dark, covered by whatever I could find. The fourth thing I dreamed about has done the most damage up to now. I had Mike's 2 brothers round asking if I'd seen him. Obviously I lied. I also didn't want them to come in, but they saw how shit I looked and thought I needed a friend, so forced themselves in for a cup of tea and a chat to make sure I was alright. We sat at the kitchen table, curtains drawn to keep reflections away. I'd had the light on and the younger of the brothers, Sam, decided to turn them off, tell me I needed natural light and open the curtains. They then thought I was crazy after screaming "don't" as loud as I could. He did anyway and promptly saw Mike in my kitchen in the reflection of the glass. He started to shout at me, saying he knew Mike was here and that he'll find him. The older brother Paul, however, told him he was looking in the direction of where Sam saw Mike the whole time and that he was obviously just distraught at Mike going missing. I agreed and tried to rush them out the house. I wish they had the chance. As soon as I'd told them to leave, the kitchen door slammed shut and wouldn't budge. The brothers wondered why I wasn't trying to help. I didn't reply, I just sat defeated. Then the creature showed itself. A lump grew in the middle of the table, then it waited until Sam noticed it. He asked what it was, I ignored it and just shrugged my shoulders. But then it kept growing. First it was a head, then shoulders, the rest of the torso and arms. Sam and Paul were screaming, trying to break open the door. I'd accepted my fate and sat watching the thing grow. When its hands were out, it gripped hold of the table and pulled itself out. A man then stood on my table, its skin a wooden texture with little food and beer stains. It didn't do anything for a few seconds, tilting its head to a side, confused as to what was happening. Sam tried to run past it to smash the window, but as he did, it reached out and grabbed him by his hair. He tried breaking free and Paul came to help by punching the thing in what was likely its face. It didn't work. Nothing would, and I knew it. I remembered the nightmare from my childhood and the night before and knew there was nothing to do. It grabbed him by the throat with its other hand and lifted him in the air with ease. Then its feet started to be absorbed by the table again and it was taking the brothers with it. I couldn't help them, I knew it was stronger than me. I resigned to the fact the brothers were already dead. As soon as part of whichever brother hit the top of the table first, it wasn't absorbed the same as the creature, instead acting like a grinder, it tore the flesh apart. By the end of it all, the table was a blood-soaked mess. I managed to partly clean the kitchen, but the table seemed to be stained forever. After that I tried to stay awake as long as possible, but I fell asleep this morning. I had a new dream, one I never experienced as a child but as with the others. This one also came true. When I awoke, the dream catcher I bought and subsequently destroyed after Mike's brothers were killed was back in my bedroom, hanging by my window. I hurriedly got out of bed, pulled the dream catcher down and shouted at it. "What do you want from me?" I knew there was no answer, that it wouldn't reply, but I kept repeating myself over and over at it, hoping something would tell me how to stop it. There was a knock at the door. Wiping my tears away, I went to check through the peephole who it was and was surprised to see Mike on the other side. I opened the door in excitement, hoping it was really him. As soon as that foot entered my house, however, I remembered the nightmare. I knew it wasn't him, and then he confirmed it. His skin began to tear all over his face. Wounds opened, spouting blood everywhere. His face became a mass of raw meat before rearranging itself, new skin starting to grow in place of the old. By this point, I'd punched myself hoping I was still dreaming, fallen backwards as it pushed me away, and I sat there, terrified. When it had finished, I was looking at a perfect recreation of myself looking down on me, waiting for a reaction. It sniffed the air and smiled before walking over and snatched the dream catcher still in my hand. This was it, my time was up. I knew what it was waiting for. The moment my eyes felt heavy, the moment I would have no defense against it, they would close again and I'd fall asleep. It would take me to its dream realm and replace me in reality, to live my life, to kill more people, more of my friends. But more importantly, to keep me asleep, comatose, for it to bring out more and more nightmares. I'm writing this to tell you all to avoid me if you see me. I'm getting tired and don't know how long I can last. Next story of this video. Posted by u/Jennifer_Brown090690. Something is stealing my memories, and I don't know how much longer I have left. I don't know how to explain this, but I'll do my best. I'll start at the beginning. Or at least what I think is the beginning. I just don't remember. Before anyone asks, my family doesn't have a history of cognitive dysfunction or decline, especially at a young age. Even if they had, it would have been generations ago and no one really knows about it. I started to notice how little I remembered a few weeks ago. It started small. I forgot where I put my keys. I didn't remember what I ate for breakfast. Things that, while not unusual, didn't happen nearly as often as they started to. It seemed like every day I was searching longer and longer for where I put my keys. I had to start waking up as much as half an hour before my alarm just to find my damn keys. Things had seemed to go missing around the house daily, sometimes multiple times a day. 2 weeks ago, that Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm not sure, I had to look for my phone 5 times. After that, I started keeping notes. Then I couldn't find those, so I bought a whiteboard and put it on the wall to try and force myself to remember. That seems to have worked for now. I got concerned when I couldn't remember where I worked. I've worked there for 6 years, I've drove myself there every single shift. How could I forget where I worked? I decided to book a doctor's appointment after that, but the doctor said that nothing was wrong, at least not with my brain. He attributed it to stress and I just half-heartedly agreed. I guess stress had picked up at work. Especially with me forgetting my computer password every day or so. I went on with the idea that it was stress for a few days after that. It wasn't the best explanation, but it worked for me. That was until 2 weeks ago. On Monday, I saw an indent in my bed next to me. I live alone. The first thing I thought was that some creep had come in and stayed there with me. But why wouldn't they do anything to me in my sleep? Not that I'm not grateful, but it just didn't add up. I looked on the floor for footprints, but there was nothing. All the windows and door were locked. I don't have a basement, so they couldn't get in through there. No attic either, so no one could be living above me. I had thought about calling the police, but what could they do? Tell me what I already knew? That someone came in and slept next to me but took nothing or did anything? It wasn't worth it to me. But it kept getting worse. I couldn't remember my mom's name. I forgot my address. I forgot how to drive. Last week was the worst though. I forgot my own name. I had to pull out my driver's license and make sure it was me. I've started forgetting basic skills like walking. I figured I had to make sure I posted this before I forgot how to do whatever I'm doing is. I'm already forgetting the words. Yesterday I woke up with something holding on to either side of my head and a pain in the back of my head. I couldn't even scream. I just felt like I was being drained. I couldn't see it, but I could tell it wasn't like me. It was so large. I could feel its knees or something like that pressing into my feet. Its hands were even bigger than I can explain. It had 3 fingers. I don't know what was in the back of my head, but I was like it was drilling into my head. It was stealing from me. I could feel myself forgetting. I couldn't move. Whatever it was using to drill into my head was keeping me still. I wanted to reach up and hit it. Break the thing it was using to take from my brain. After what felt like years, it was gone. I don't remember it moving. Maybe it took that this morning. I don't know how much longer I have until I don't know anything. It keeps taking and taking and taking, and I have almost nothing left to give. I wish I could do something, but I can't. It's taken everything from me. I don't know why it's doing this to me. All I can do is sit and wait for everything to leave me. It makes me want it to be over with so I can't remember the pain of not knowing. I can hear it walking up behind me. I'm too scared to look. Edit, I feel better now. I think I was just imagining things. Maybe my doctor was right and it was just stress. Sorry for worrying anyone. Smile.